You know that sinking feeling when everyone around you seems to have it figured out? Your high school friend just bought a house. Your coworker got promoted again. Someone younger than you just launched a successful business. Meanwhile, you're wondering why you're still struggling with basics. If you constantly feel like you're running a race you didn't know started, and everyone else got a head start, stop. Because what you're experiencing isn't failure. And today, we're breaking down why the people who feel most behind are often the ones growing the most, even when it doesn't look like it. Here's the thing that'll mess with your head. Psychologists call this the progress paradox. The more you're actually growing, the more aware you become of how much you don't know. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect in reverse. Incompetent people think they're killing it. Competent people think they're failing. Why? Because real growth expands your understanding of how complex things actually are. You're not falling behind. You're just finally seeing the full picture. Think about it. 5 years ago, you thought success was simple. Get the job, make the money, done. But now, you understand relationships, mental health, purpose, fulfillment, impact. Your definition of success got more sophisticated. So, yeah, by your new standards, you feel behind. But by your old standards, you'd be impressed with where you are. You didn't regress. Your measuring stick evolved. But here's where it gets darker. Social media turned everyone's highlight reel into your daily comparison. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's edited final cut. That friend who bought a house, you didn't see the family, money, the debt, the relationship that's falling apart. That promoted coworker, you missed the burnout, the therapy sessions, the weekends they sacrificed. You're measuring yourself against illusions and wondering why you can't compete with ghosts. Here's something wild that neuroscience reveals. People who feel behind often have what's called a growth-oriented mindset combined with high self-awareness. Translation: you're not delusional about where you are. You see your gaps clearly, and that clarity feels like failure, but it's actually the prerequisite for real progress. Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset shows that people who feel behind are often the ones most capable of closing that gap because they're honest about it existing. Now let me tell you what's really happening when you feel behind. You're in what psychologists call the messy middle. The beginning of anything feels exciting. The end feels victorious. But the middle is doubt, confusion, wondering if you're even on the right path. And here's the brutal part. The messy middle can last years. Most people quit here. They think the struggle means they're failing. But the struggle means you're building something real, not something easy. There's actually a concept called the plateau of latent potential. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room that's 25 degrees. Nothing happens. 26 degrees, still nothing. 27, 28, 29 degrees. The ice just sits there. Then at 32 degrees, it suddenly melts. Did the change happen at 32? No. It was happening the whole time. You just couldn't see it. That's you right now. You feel stuck because you're in degree 29 and you can't see that you're 1 degree away from everything shifting. But here's what nobody tells you about feeling behind. Sometimes you're not behind at all. You're on a completely different timeline. Not everyone's race starts at the same place or ends at the same finish line. Maybe you spent your 20s healing from trauma while others built careers. Maybe you're learning lessons at 35 that will make you unstoppable at 45. Comparing timelines is like comparing a marathon runner to a sprinter and asking why one's slower. Different race, different rules, different purpose. And here's the beautiful part that makes all of this worth it. The people who feel behind develop something that people who coast never get: depth. You understand failure. You know what it's like to struggle. You've learned patience, resilience, and humility the hard way. When you finally break through, and you will, you won't take it for granted. You won't be shallow in your success. You'll be someone who earned every inch of ground you stand on. So if you're someone who looks at everyone else's life and thinks you're failing, who feels like you should be further along by now, who wonders if you missed some memo everyone else got, listen, you're not behind. You're building a foundation that people who rushed ahead didn't take time to create. And when their house of cards falls, yours will still be standing. You're not late. You're exactly where deep growth happens. Tell me in the comments, do you feel behind or right on time? And if this hit different, subscribe, because the next video explains why your struggle isn't a sign you're failing. It's proof you're about to break through. Click it. You need to see this.